Project Sentinel, Episode 33, The Echo's Origin. 1. The Registry of the Damned. Inside the frozen engineering sanctum of the second relic, Zahn and Bradley worked in the beam of their helmet lights. The golden filaments pulsed with a soft, rhythmic green, stabilized by the Rosetta frequency. "The registry is clear now," Payne reported to the bridge. "This ship was the Aethel. It was Ship 2 in the line. When Ship 1, the lead, suffered its cascade, it didn't just fail. It broadcast an emergency fleet lockdown that was interpreted by the Waypoints as a command to purge the resonance cores of every ship following it. It wasn't a virus," Bradley added from the Vigilance science station. "It was a mercy kill command that went catastrophically wrong." The sanctum was still, the air long gone, the silence absolute. The filaments glowed faintly, casting green shadows across the shattered consoles. Zahn traced a finger along a cracked panel, feeling the cold metal through his glove. The Aethel's core was dead, but its final record was alive, a warning etched in light. 2. The search for the crew. While the engineers harvested data, Sergeant Lewis and his Marines moved toward the forward section of the Aethel. Their mag boots made a hollow clack hiss on the bone-white floor. "Captain, we've reached the primary habitation hub," Lewis reported. Unlike the first ship back at the cradle, which had been stripped by time and drift, the interior of the Aethel was perfectly preserved by the vacuum. Lewis panned his helmet light across the room. The beams caught on small personal objects suspended in 0G. A floating crystalline charm, a handheld tool, and, most strikingly, the remains of the crew. They weren't skeletons. The vacuum had preserved them as dark, desiccated silhouettes at their stations. "They didn't run," Lewis whispered, his voice thick with a soldier's respect. "They stayed at their posts trying to override the waypoint until the air gave out." The remains were frozen in motion, hands on controls, heads bowed over consoles, one figure still clutching a diagnostic pad. The light caught the faint sheen of frost on their suits. No panic, no flight, just duty, held in place by the cold. 3. The signal coordinates. On the Vigilant, Lieutenant Cho and Dr. Thorne were triangulating the source of the persistent distress call. "The signal is coming from Waypoint 3, Cho announced. "It's another 12 light hours out, putting the lead ship at exactly 36 light hours from Sol Prime. The signal is weak, repeating a single data string. Integrity compromised. Isolation required. If Ship 1 is still broadcasting, its core might still be active," Captain Kray mused. "That ship is the source of the purge. If we want to stop the waypoints from killing anything that enters the network, we have to find the off switch at the head of the line." The bridge was quiet, the only sound the soft ping of the distress signal repeating in the background. The stars outside were sharp and cold, the planetoid below a dark pedestal holding its silent charge. The Aethel's log had given them names, coordinates, and a warning. The convoy's death had a source, and it was still alive. 4. The shadow in the dark. As the boarding party prepared to retreat to the umbilical, Thorne's science console chirped with a proximity alert. "Captain, the waypoint pyramid on the surface just shifted its resonance," Thorne warned. "It's not targeting us, but it's transmitting a high-gain burst toward Waypoint 3. It's a handshake relay. It's telling the next station that Unit 43 is moving up the chain." "The network is tracking our progress," Kray said. "It's preparing the next doctor to see us. One thing concerns me, though. How did it know we were going to the next station?" Dr. Thorne did not have an answer for that question and shrugged. "I could not tell you, Captain. The only thing I can think of is the waypoint on the surface is monitoring our communication somehow. We are not broadcasting to everyone, but with the communication with our boarding party, it may have made that assumption. A concerning crinkle emerged on Captain Kray's brow. I don't like that. We may have to figure something different with our sensitive communications if we do not want these things knowing our every move. Everyone on the command hub was nodding in affirmation with him as he spoke. The pyramid's filaments twitched once, a slow, deliberate motion, as if the station were nodding in acknowledgement. The golden glow faded, but the low pulse remained, steady, patient, waiting. 5. The long road ahead. The boarding party returned to the Vigilant, the airlock cycling with a hiss of repressurization. As they stripped off their tactical helmets, the weight of what they had seen sat heavy on the small crew. "We have the logs from Ship 2, Zahn said, handing a data drive to Kray. "And we have the vector for the lead ship. But Captain, 36 light hours is a long way out. We'll be well beyond the reach of the Oort relays. We'll be truly on our own." Kray looked at the 50-meter ship's bridge, now filled with his full crew of 9. The obsidian armor was cool, the Rosetta frequency was locked, and the mission was clear. "We still have our pin that is monitoring this area. We can always attempt to use it to relay our communications back to the cradle if needed." "We aren't just mapping a graveyard anymore," Kray said. "We're answering a call. Miller, prep the skip drive. Target Waypoint 3. The Vigilant detached from the dead giant and turned its obsidian nose toward the deep black, a tiny spark of life heading toward the source of the silence. The stars waited. And somewhere ahead, Ship 1 was still screaming. This concludes today's episode of Project Sentinel. Please join our crew and subscribe for your twice-weekly episodes. We post each Tuesday and Friday at 1800.